It's all for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Welcome to another great conversation at Dad Is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael. I hope you guys are doing well. My guest coming up soon is the hip-hop legend, Wordsworth. But first, he is a father first and a husband first. So he's going to come by and talk about the importance of fatherhood, music, and all that stuff. And then also we're going to touch on his book. As you can see, What Words Are Worth, Volume 1, The New Beginning. Dope book. You got to have it. He signed it. You see it? Pretty dope. So the link to this book will be in the description below. But before we start the interview, I'm going to let my sponsor for this episode take over. VT Heroes, take over.
You just got kicked in the gut. Punch in the face.
Customize your hero using color, element, and totem. Flip your action cards to determine the winner.
Yes! It's my turn now.
Collect, trade, battle, and win. A new fighting card game has arrived. Play VT Heroes.
Thank you, VTR Heroes, for being today's sponsor of this great conversation. This brother is changing the game when it comes to fighting card game style. If you want this game, the link of that description will be below. And I'm happy and I'm delighted and I'm just like, I can't think of other words I can think of, but I'm happy to have this brother back on with me. I had a conversation with him on IG Live, I would say like a year ago. Yeah, and that was a dope conversation. And this is going to be another dope conversation. This brother wears many hats and we're just going to conversate.
Yeah.
Words. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I think it's been about a year or so, and I'm happy to be back. And man, so much has going on, and hey, man, I just love being able to contribute my perspective.
And you always have, man. You've been that way since like the first time we conversated or like we connected. Going back to the Chronicles of the Hip Hop Legend radio show via email. I knew that from the jump start. But before we get into it, how are you doing? How's your family doing? How you been through the pandemic?
Yeah, we're all good, man. I'm back in the classroom. I've been in the classroom teaching since August. So everybody's fine. You know, my kids are fine. Wife is fine. You know, grandparents, parents, not grandparents, in-laws and parents, they're fine. You know, so everybody's good. How about on your end?
Everyone's good, man. My mother's good. Earlier this year, I know I haven't been public about it, but my father passed away earlier this year. Which he told me he had passed away from COVID. For the past 2 years, I really didn't have a relationship with him. But, you know, when I was growing up, my father wasn't in my life. Right. But my stepdad who passed away, he was my father. Right. And so I'm kind of mixed feelings, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but overall, it's been an interesting year. I learned a lot about myself through the pandemic. But what have you learned about yourself personally through the pandemic? Just as a father, husband,
don't take time for granted, man. I learned like, man, every second, every minute, don't waste it. Don't waste it. Come out of the pandemic better. You know, if you go, it wasn't necessarily a vacation. It was more so, going in the locker room and coming out for the second half. That's how I look at it. Going in the locker room, coming out for the second half of the game better. If you were winning, keep the lead. If you were down, take the lead. That's how I looked at it. So, during the pandemic, I was able to knock out a couple of projects. So I finished my solo album, which will be out in January. And I got an EP that actually drops October 19th. And then I got another album that I worked on with P.A. Dre. So I just been amping up and ramping up the creativity. I got another book that's finished and just waiting on the illustrations to come out. I'm just like in overdrive. I've never been this productive, I would say. I don't think I've been this productive in since maybe when I was just running around New York City trying to have 1,000 rhymes in my mind. But like now there's such a different purpose to everything I'm doing.
And that's important too. But also, how's the relationship with like your wife and your kids through the pandemic? Because I know I've talked to a lot of fathers and through the pandemic, it changed their perspective and it kind of brought their relationship with their children stronger.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things about me being home and teaching is the fact that like I got all those formative years with them. So I love that. We sit down and watch movies together. So there's like we don't watch certain movies without the other one. If it's 4 of us. So if 3 of us are there, we gotta wait for the 4th one. And then just like me and my wife is the same vibe. It's just like, we got our shows that we watch together. So it's really just really I think understanding the value of everybody's time more so than anything. I think that's been more of I know my understanding is especially seeing that my youngest is getting there to the point of like getting her driver's license. My oldest is in I think maybe close to her 3rd year in college because she actually skipped 1 year because she took college in high school. So she's like becoming who she's going to become, and I'm just watching them become who they're becoming. It's like sometimes like emotional for me.
Wow.
To be like, yo, wow, I can't believe this. Like, yo, you driving, my daughter yesterday, I picked up from my wife's job and she drove home. She drove me home and stuff like that. So like sometimes it's like, yo, it's crazy. You was just so it's a reality check. Keep it real. It's just like one of those things that like, all right, so making sure things are in order and stuff like that. Overall, that's really how it is.
And then also, before you became a teacher, you like well known in hip hop and underground hip hop, and that's how you made your money at that time. But
Right.
just talk about how were you able to make time for your kids? Because sometimes being a person in that world, most of the time you're on the road constantly, so you don't get a chance to spend time. So how were you able to balance it or not? But like, talk about it.
Man, it was a terrible balance. I'll keep it real. Like it's a very terrible balance because I'm on the road for months. So I'm missing birthdays, I'm missing holidays, and you come home, but like your schedule is off because I'm staying up all night. They're asleep. Then I'm sleeping in the day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm all off schedule. So it wasn't really a great balance, should I say, until luckily when I started teaching, my youngest was in coming out of 6th grade, 5th and 6th grade around then. So it worked out because I was there for her formative years and my oldest formative years going in from middle school to high school. So that worked out perfectly for me, in which I've seen throughout the years, these are the most important years to be there. A lot of crazy decisions, a lot of people they got to decide who to hang out with, a lot of adult decisions. They need somebody to talk to get more than one perspective. Of course, they can talk to my wife, but then I have another perspective from a male perspective. So I try to explain that too, because primarily it's females around me with them. So I try to also explain to them like, that's cool. I get what you're saying, but that's not how guys see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's very key because some kids get raised without a dad and vice versa, but it's definitely not the same. So I just try to make sure that I value the fact that I'm there to give that advice from a different perspective.
And then also too, the crazy story about you becoming a teacher is that you never thought you would become a teacher in the first place. It had to do with the situation, I do believe, with your youngest daughter and the substitute. So talk about that.
Yeah, she came home with some crazy grades. It was like A's, and next I think interim or whatever report card was like D's and F's, and come to find out, I believe this was like she was in 5th or 6th grade. And she had a substitute teacher, and I went up there to go talk to the substitute, and he told me he's a veterinarian. He don't know what he's doing up in the classroom. I will never forget that. I thought that was the boldest statement you could say to a parent. I really did. I was like, yeah, this is crazy. He literally just told me that.
At least he was honest.
Yeah, he was. Because the overwhelming, it's very overwhelming to be in the classroom sometimes. Right. So most of those teachers will be honest, especially if they're a substitute. It ain't like they're going to get fired like that. It's like, I'm there for the day, so I'm going to keep it real. And then going down to the principal, and I just pretty much let her know, like, yo, well, I'm going to go become a sub so I can teach my daughter's class. And I get down there, I hand in the papers, and this white woman comes around the desk and says they need more black male teachers in this district. So you don't need to be a sub. You need to be a role model for your culture and your race. And it only took that. That was the realest question I ever been asked. The biggest call to action in my life. And since then, it's been the biggest blessing in my life too. One of the biggest blessings, I should say, So that's how it ended up where I'm at.
And I think that's important that, you took action, because unfortunately, what is it? The statistics is only 3% of black males that's teachers.
Yeah, I think it's 2%. I actually say that on my album. I said it's 2% of teachers are black males and Education Blacks Trail. Like I say that on my album coming out in January. So I talk about that.
But just talk about that in detail, being that you're a part of that 2% of.
It's wild when you think about it's 330 million people.
Yeah.
That's when you really think about it. That's how I try to tell people, like, yo, I think it's more than that now. I think it was 330 million people some time ago. I think it's more than that now. But like, you think about, let's just stay there. 300, let's just say 300 million people, and only 2% of us are there. So when you have these complaints about what's being taught or how it's being perceived or what's in the books and all of this, whatever the case may be, there's no images of us in there to actually pretty much alter the direction and mentality. So for me, being there, I've had students go, oh, Mr. Johnson, I didn't know you could be a teacher and rap. So their ideology and way they think is whatever they see rapping that's it. That's all it is, and they don't understand the business and things like that. So whatever it is, being there for football for them. If you're a football coach, if you're there and you're able to do math, science, whatever it is, they don't have a lot of reflections to understand that you could be a black male and know science. Yeah. You could be a black male and teach geometry. Like, so for them, when they're getting older, when you ask them what they want to be, they just go with whatever they see immediately. So it's going to be, I want to be a football player, basketball athlete. I see music, I see entertainment things as my immediate, because when I'm in the classroom, I don't see representation of me there. So, that's not going to be where I'm aiming at. So I think me being there, I actually had a kid hit me the other day and say he wants to be a teacher because I was there.
Wow.
Like he's now going to college. He was like, man, Mr. Johnson, I'm aiming to be a teacher because you were there. Wow. So being those examples, now when they get older, they can be like, nah, my teacher, black dude, wore the Jordans, could rap, still was doing stuff that I could see on TV, listen to music and everything. It wasn't like, so like, nah, they can see it and be like, nah, it ain't like that. It ain't like what we think. This is what it is. So I think that's the main thing, is giving them an actual reality of what it is.
And then also talk about how were you able to work around the system? Because I know the one thing teachers love, they love teaching their kids, and they want to apply stuff that works instead of applying stuff that the school gives them. And I know the school you work with, you kind of work with them a little bit, where you were able to apply the stuff that you wanted to teach to the kids within that system. But like, talk about that. Was there a struggle in the beginning?
I gotta give it up to Mrs. Pointerlin. She was one of the people that interviewed me. She's not there at the moment working there no more. And Miss McMillan, when they interviewed me and hired me, I let them know that I was an artist and I toured. I let them know straight up. Now, for them, they thought like, all right, kind of, because that's kind of like a thing. But then they found out like, oh no, he really is the real deal. Like he really does this. It was like, because I told them, I said I have a tour in Europe, so I don't know if I can start those first couple of weeks. It's like, all right, we'll hire you, and you know when that tour come up was, and then they like, no, this guy really goes to Europe and tours, and then they made it real flexible for me. They understood because they knew how serious I was with the craft.
Right.
But then once my school won, we won a grant. They knew what I professionally did, and then they allowed me to actually build the curriculum based around what I do professionally outside of school. So then they allowed me to implement a curriculum to teach music production, TV production, film production. They already had TV, but me having the experience of being on TV and all these other things, they allowed me to kind of just like direct the program. And since then, in the past 2 years of doing the contest, we won 11 of 22 awards. Wow. So 11 of 22 is like over 50% going up against every school in the district.
Wow.
So that's, that's what the program is like. Like I tell people all the time, like my classroom and my program is like, there's no program like that, I would say, throughout the country with what's going on. And, so take advantage of it. So I just try to tell the kid, I'm telling you, take advantage of this. When you leave this class, you ain't going to have this. You got free studio. Studio costs money. I'm like trying to like, I don't really know. Yeah, kind of, and a lot of kids take advantage of it. And it's fun watching. The main thing that's what's so dope about doing it is like having an idea up here that nobody can see, and then giving them a process to bring it out to life, and then they see it, and then the excitement that they get to see that, now I know how to bring what's up here out to the world through just doing these steps. So yeah, man, it's exciting to do it, like, and kind of just watch them getting all about themselves, because they're like all geniuses. Right. But if you don't kind of know how to like water that flower, then it's a little difficult. But if you know how to just kind of help with certain things, and they get to start seeing it come to fruition, then they'd be like, oh, I can do anything. So
right. And I think a lot of kids they learn differently.
Yes, totally.
And I think one of the most important things too is like you see a lot of kids memorize rap lyrics, because if a kid can memorize rap lyrics, they're pretty damn smart.
Yeah. I learned differently too. I graduated college. I tell people here and there that some people may know, I graduated college writing all my stuff in rhymes. Yep. So that's why in my class, I'm very open to anything. Right. Because my professors was like, that's what he does. It has the proper information, the proper grammar. It makes sense. I wasn't just rhyming to be rhyming. I was rhyming. Everything made sense. And that's how I got out of college. So I think that's what helped me be a better teacher, is that the professors prior to me taught me to be they actually were being better professors for me. They adjusted for me and let me do my thing. So I always praise Professor Terrell, Dr. Hicks. They changed the game for me. They could have shut me down. I would be a different person.
But do you see yourself through that maturation as like this dynamic point guard from, you know what I mean? Let's think of like Kenny Anderson, right?
Right.
NBA street legend on the court. You know, he goes to high school, college. These coaches, they kind of mold his game. They don't let him change who he is, but they kind of teach him the basics,
right,
to make him like a great player in the league. So do you kind of see that kind of similarity when it comes to teaching kids? It's like you don't want to take away what they're good at. You just want to kind of teach them the basics so they can, you know, you can kind of pull out the best out of them because they already have it already.
Totally. I go with whatever you like to do. How do we do it? So if I'm doing like, if we're doing a PSA and you say I want to do a PSA on skateboarding, I'm doing it. We're doing it.
Wow.
I don't give the topics.
Right.
I give the assignment, but I don't give what the assignment is about. So my mindset state is different with assignments. You know, it's like, here's the assignments, the PSA. What do you want to do it on?
Right.
And then they may give topics, and then they can choose from that list. But if a kid is like, I want to do it about video games. All right, cool. Let's figure out the angle from doing that. And then I go from there. I think it's sometimes like more restrictive and maybe less entertaining when you just say, all right, here's the 5 choices. You got to pick from that. Yeah. Then it's like, they just kind of like, I got to rock with that. Right. Littering, I got to rock with that. You know, I'm like, what do you want to do?
Right.
All right, let's do it.
No, it makes sense too. It's like, oh, I like your crossover. You got a nasty crossover, but at this, it's gonna help you even more.
That's it. I don't force you to do anything. I just give you the assignment, and then you choose.
And then also, you know, a little funny. As a Black teacher, did you have your Joe Clark moment? Because I know growing up, you know, the first Black teacher I saw on film was Lean on Me with Joe Clark, right? So did you have like a Joe Clark moment being like
Nah. Nah, you know, I think one of the things that helps me be successful, honestly, with the kids, is that I just kind of keep it very real with the kids, you know, as far as like talking about topics or things, you know what I'm saying? Like if I overhear them talking about something, I do this thing called, we're gonna do a pause for the cause. Y'all talking about some nonsense over here. What are y'all talking about?
Right.
And so I don't necessarily stick to what's going on all the time in class. Right. I may hear y'all talking about something, and I'll switch the topic from that for 5 to 10 minutes about whatever's going on in life, and everybody's joining in, jumping in, and then it's like, get back to work. So I'm very free with it. Like I try to make sure that's really it, or I try to give them a perspective of like, I've had kids that be disrespecting other teachers, and then they come to me and they cool, and I'll be like, I'll be like, all right, now we're gonna talk about this, y'all. You know, you know, y'all are really out of control with this, and I just try to keep it real. Like, listen, you know, if you saw that teacher on the street, you would not do that.
That's right.
Just keep it real with yourself. And they'd be like, nah, I wouldn't do that. If you was with your parent on the street and you saw that teacher, would you disrespect the teacher with your parent on the street? No. All right, so why y'all up in the building acting crazy when you know on the street you wouldn't do that to that person? So that's one of the talks I have with them. And then the other side of that is, yo, you know, don't disrespect me, because let's just say your parents were a teacher and you saw another kid disrespect your mom or dad. How would you feel? That's right. They was like, man, if I seen some kids do that, I'd be ready I'd be like, you see how you turned up? I'm somebody's mom and dad. So now you disrespecting somebody's mom and dad.
No, you're right, man.
Perspective. When I tell them that, they be like, yo, that's kind of, I never thought about it like that. And that's kind of where I'm with it. Like, I try to do these stories to put my, you know what I'm saying? Like, flip it on them. Like, all right, you disrespecting such and such. All right, that's an adult though. You know, I'm an adult first. I'm a teacher, but I'm an adult first, and then I'm a teacher. So don't forget the adult part first, because you wouldn't act like that to an adult. I don't know how you come up in the building and all of a sudden you just mad different.
Right.
So when you kind of talk to them about that, they get it. They start to be like, yeah, that's kind of real. I never really thought about that. You know, I get it though, because it's almost like the first day of school of being no matter what age it is, right? You're getting dropped off.
Yeah.
A stranger. It could be from pre-K to high school. You're getting dropped off with a stranger that you don't know. So you're gonna come in there like, I don't know you. You know, you can't tell me what to do. That vibe is there. But I'm talking about like after a couple of weeks and months, yo, that gotta be out the window. Come on, man.
Do you think they try to test you sometimes to see how far you will go? Or is it just, again, they don't know better, and so by giving them perspective, they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and then also, I think too, kids can see who's real and who's phony. They know you real, and so when they come to you, they're willing to listen. If they see another person or a teacher that seems kind of phony, it goes out one ear and out the other.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely try to test you. I think that's any kid, because remember, you're going from different people's environment all day, right? You in this environment, that teacher class management is terrible. They're gonna be like so loose and goosey with it. They think they're gonna come up in my situation and be like that. But I'm very immediate with my stuff. So like, as soon as you do something, I let it you know right then and there. I'll be like, you know, I'll let you know, like, oh, no, we're not doing that up in here. You know, I'm gonna give you that one. Then I'm gonna give you that. That's two. I'm gonna count it down and be like, oh, okay. So you want to play games? So I'm immediate. I don't let it dwell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the one thing that kids, I think, why they respect it, because they know that when I say it, it's a done deal. There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no like, you know, I don't feel sorry for you or nothing. I'd be like, oh yeah, you want see you later, go to timeout, catch you later. No, I'll catch you later. Like, I'm not doing no front. You can't front. I don't do no front. You know, you can't front with kids, man. If you do that one, like you say you're gonna do it and don't do it,
yep,
it's a wrap, man. So I'm very immediate. Like, oh, you wanna play like that? All right, do it one more time. And then if they don't want to leave, I'm like, all right, call security. You know, I'm doing all. Right. I'm gonna be over the top because I'm so level that when I do go there, you take it serious. So I think you have to have a balance too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then talk about balancing too. Like, you know, going on when you were doing the tour and teaching at the same time. How were you able to keep aware of the nonsense? Because again, you're out and about, you're still representing the school, and then like one image on Facebook or Twitter go out there and is everywhere. So how were you able to just know your surrounding so you don't put yourself in that situation?
Well, the last time I toured was the last time I toured.
Right.
Because I didn't like coming back in the disconnect with the kids.
Right.
Because I went on tour kind of like after a few weeks there, and it almost felt like I was a sub when I came back because they don't know me.
Right.
So I haven't toured, and now I just do spot dates. So I'll do like, I might do a show here where I'm at. I'll fly out for the weekend, do some shows, and then I'll fly back. I got vacations. So I do those spot dates. I got the whole summer.
True.
So I do that. So I changed the vibe of worrying about that going out here and there. And then like just being on social media, I'm just very conscious of what I post and stuff like that as well. So I'm aware of the dynamic of the kids like to see what I'm doing and go by what I go by. So I try to avoid anything that's like that's very divisive. So I'm very against posting like stuff that's real divisive or doesn't have a stance that I think should be a general consensus. If it's like racism and stuff like that, I'm gonna post it. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things I'll post that I think is a general consensus across the board. You know, just so it shows that you got to stand up for certain things. But I'm aware of what I'm putting up there and posting and stuff like that. And I mean, one thing about it too is like if the kids listen to my records, I don't curse.
Right.
So
Yep.
you know what
Never.
I'm saying? So it's not like they're gonna be going to find my music, which they do, and then listen to it and be like, Mr. Johnson on there crazy. You know what I'm saying? Wilding. Nah, it ain't gonna be like that. So they can hear the stories that I'm saying and how I paint them vividly, and it's still something they can play, you know. So I'm very aware. I became very aware of my purpose of how to write and who I am years ago.
Yep.
So I knew the people, like the professors and things that kind of molded me, how they perceive my power to be. And then I learned what my power was with writing and speaking, and that kind of molded me to not curse and still be as potent. And that's kind of, I think, what allows me to be here to this day is the fact that it's not squeaky clean what I do is in regards of the content. I still talk about all the content, but it's in a manner that you can play it for anybody. And I think that's what I would say I'm very proud to be able to do that. I could rap with the best of them without a curse word. I could rap about anything and still play for your kids, your parents, and anybody like that. So I take a pride in that and the people that raised me.
That's right. And talk about the people that raised you, man, because you know they played a major role in who you are, man. Talk about
yeah, man. My mom is the queen of balance. No, for real. Like that's why I'm very balanced with stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very even with everything. You know, my mom, she's like, so you know, I have friends that got in a lot of trouble.
Right.
That used to come by the house. You get in trouble, you come back. She's not gonna judge you unless you do something again. Like if you do something that's like nonsense to harm, then she's like that. But she doesn't judge you coming back.
Right.
She's like very fair. And that's how I learned to be very fair. Like I'm non-judgmental until you do something to make me say, can't mess with you on that. You wild out, can't do that. But she taught me to be very fair and not to just like judge people. You know, empathy, sympathy. So my mom raised me to be very fair and understand like you don't have to follow anybody. So I'm just like, you know, just being a leader with what I do and man, you know, I remember when I got the lounge show years ago and I remember getting on the elevator and the one thing she said to me before I said the elevator, let the world know your name. That's I will never forget that. She said, and the world knows my name, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So my mom is the truth. She gonna tell you like it is. She gonna tell you if she likes something, she gonna tell you she don't like something. And she's not gonna be hype.
Right.
She get hype, she stay even. And that's how I am. I'm real even with it. So that's, you know, and then my dad, he's very just like, he doesn't talk much, but he's about action with it. So if you need something, he got you. He ain't gonna come talk to you about a whole bunch of stuff. He'll know what's going on from my mom or whatever, and then he's action. So, you know, those characteristics are in me, and then I love that balance of I like being able to be cool, and then I like being able that I can be a jerk.
But you can be a jerk in a nice way and in a subtle way if people won't pick it up.
But you have to have that. I'm telling you, you have to have that in you. Like you have to learn that part because some people like to be so nice that then they're living with misery from not being able to tell people no. And or they're being, you know, they can't let people down or know the truth. And I pride myself on, if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the honest how I feel, and then go from there.
And then also just and then talk about like the mental health aspect, just you know, your journey, you know, as an MC, as you know, that aspect of it, because I know it's gotta be hard. And I know a lot of people don't talk about it. I know From March was the one that kind of spoke the loudest from his album Agent Orange. You know, he talked about his mental health. But for you, like touch on that for a little bit.
I mean, if I had to really think about the mental health aspect of being an artist, you don't even understand that you're dealing with mental health, right? Because like when you're MC coming up, you're 15, 16, whatever. Your whole thought process is, I'm going to rap forever.
Right.
Then when you get older, you start realizing you're not as hot as you were. You didn't go to school, maybe. You don't have no real backup plan. Your pride is killing you to not get a job. So now desperation sets in. Your pride is stopping you from hanging out, maybe, or doing the wrong thing so you can keep up with the Joneses. You're so worried about what people think about you that you can't even get a job just to sustain. And then there's a whole domino effect to your family, and that's pressure from seeing your family suffer is mounting on you. And this is all stemming from this dream of what you thought you would be. And you're not even old yet. You might be in your 20s. So now imagine you're 20 trying to figure out how to hustle. Then you become 30s. And then you're still not on, and you're still rapping. And you're thinking like it's going to be one of these days. And what you're doing is time is passing you by, and you're not even like acquiring other skills. So now mentally you're caught there in a roller coaster of depression because you're not happy where you are, and that's very rough, man. And like, I would say, like, I've had my roller coasters, but I've always believed in myself, but also I've never had the pride not to work. I've had jobs when I needed to have jobs. When I used to do the Lyricist Lounge show and I'm on MTV at the time, I still was working in the World Trade Center, watching the show and coming to work.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I've worked at Guitar Center, Toys R Us, GameStop. I've done jobs. So people may have this whole ideology of like, once you get on and this and that, or you start rapping, you can't do these certain things. I don't have that in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my mindset. My mindset is I'm going to do whatever I have to. So the pride has to go outside the window, get pushed aside. You can still work hard. That's the other, like, there's like a myth of like, it almost feels like you can't get a job and work hard towards your craft. And that's just false. So that's where I see a lot of the mental health comes in. The fact that I see a lot of rappers, maybe from my era and prior, they've aged, but aged thinking that the rap is the only thing they can do. And it's kind of stuck there.
Right. That's true. And then also talk about the balance. And your balance, did you learn giving yourself a grace period? Let's say if some didn't come or didn't work out the time frame that you wanted. Did you give yourself a grace period, or did you get frustrated and get frustrated and you're like, oh, this is, and seep into that depression? Or did you find that grace period like, all right, it didn't happen, all right?
Yeah, I just kind of do a reassessment on what I can do. Really just like, all right, well, if that's not working to pay bills, then I got to go do this job here. This is common sense. Like, this ain't popping, so I got to go do that. Also, I just also looked at other artists, right? I have examples. So we have to have examples ahead of us to kind of gauge how things can work out. So I looked at like Common. I looked at how Common career was, and then he got Kanye super late. I looked at DMX. He got signed at like 33. He put 2 albums out. So I looked at that, all these different paths, like the Roots and Black Thought. People today saying Black Thought is the GOAT or the greatest now. And it's like, me and you may be like, well, we've been talking about Black Thought being ill for like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I make sure that you cannot gauge your success on other people's paths.
Right.
That's it. Once you start gauging your success on somebody else's path, you're going to get lost. And that's just simply how I look at it. But you can let it be a source of inspiration that you can keep pushing forward with common sense moves. So you just got to make sure you push forward with common sense moves. And if you do that, that'll be fine, and you can't say when your time is going to be, and it could be 15, 14, 40, 50, 60, who knows? You don't know. The game is still so young that there's so many people that can prove what we may think is the right way or the wrong way wrong. So that's kind of how I look at it. Just kind of just push your pride aside and just kind of use the examples ahead of you. There's people that took longer to get on.
That's right. You're right about that. Yeah.
So,
But that's how funny the world works, is that like cats that we knew that was dope back then, people are finally catching on. But that's how it is. But also, like, talking about the music, you know, you got your hands in different things. So when it comes to putting out music, you're not kind of worrying about the economy of the money returned from music, and sort of, because you got other things going on. But just talk to me on the business aspect of it, of the changing of how people get music from streaming, YouTube. It's like the artists are not making as much money from streaming than they did from back in the days, from like buying CDs, cassette tapes, and things like that. So like take me into that, your business brain about that.
I just make sure I don't spend more than I can make back. That's simple. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. Like, I'm not gonna, like, you know, I'll pay for the beats if need be, you know. So if I'm doing an album, 10 songs or whatever, you know, depending on the producer, it might even be some switch and bartering. You never know. Then, you know, to get it distributed, if you want to just upload it digitally, you know, pay for some artwork, upload it digitally, pay for some artwork, people download it, you kind of make money like that. People just download it, you paid your art guy, you pay the producer for their beats, and then you can go to one of these TuneCores, which is like an aggregate, and it has all the different outlets to everybody, and you can just chill like that. And then if you want to do videos, you can find somebody to do a video for cheap. But like at the end of the day, it's just really about like not ODing on spending money on stuff that you know you're not going to make back.
Right.
So that's kind of, I think, what's been able to help me sustain with everything. Like, you know, all the projects I've done have recouped. You know, thank God for that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, and that's because it's not like I'm out here trying to shoot $2,000 videos. I'm not trying to do all of that extra, you know. Right. I gauge it. So here's one of the things I would say. There's people that press up, like they're going to press up thousands of CDs. I'm not pressing up thousands, you know. I'm like, yo, I'll do 300, make 3,000, then press up another. Like, I do it gradually. Every album of mine, I didn't put out on vinyl. You know, I put out New Beginning on vinyl. And then the new album coming out is going to be on vinyl. And I just felt like this album coming out in January, The Fragility of Life, I just felt like it's, man, when you see the artwork and what it's about and what I'm rhyming about on there, I felt like I have to have a vinyl of this, because the cover, when you see the cover, it's like poster. You know, it's like, I got to get a vinyl of this one. But typically I don't really mess with the vinyl, because the vinyl has a certain amount of cost. A couple of thousand there. So for me, I'm like, I'll stick to what I know is going to recoup, and know that I'm going to have national distribution with it, worldwide distribution, and people will support it and listen to it whatever manner they can. And then CDs, I have a certain amount of CDs. You want to order a CD, you can go to my Bandcamp, and I mail you the CDs. I autograph them and things like that. So you got to change with the times, and don't OD on it, man, and buy all this whole bunch of extra stuff and press up stuff. Know where you can sell your stuff at. So I feel good about what I've been doing, and I don't, like I said, I don't overspend. I don't at all.
And I think it's smart too. And then also, I think for artists, I think back in those days, the idea was to sign to a major label. You know, when you sign to a major label, you made it. But a lot of people don't realize that if you don't read the contract, you know, you kind of get screwed at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like Daylight Soul did, Tribe did. And I think now is that artists can be independent now. but at the same time, to get your music out, especially streaming, you have a couple of major places to stream. But at the same time, you don't make a lot of money off that stream anyway.
Well, yeah, you don't make a lot of money over streaming anyway. I would say a majority of money when it comes back is really like uh the royalties that I get from sales from stuff prior, maybe older, because they're still racking up.
Right.
But like, you get a nice BMI here and there though when stuff does play, and if you got a lot of stuff out, which
Right.
is why people are doing these 7-song EPs, right?
Right.
The more stuff you got out, the more spins, the more your BMI. That's pretty much the game. Um, but then what happened today really is a lot of these artists, the contracts are antiquated, because remember, you signed a contract in the 90s, you don't have digital in there.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of these artists and labels are having issues now, because it's like, you can't upload that. We didn't
Yep.
agree to the terms on that. So that's where a lot of that lies. Excuse me. But yeah, that's really where it lies now, is that you can kind of redo this contract based on the fact that digital wasn't in the contract back then.
Yeah.
So,
And
just be mindful, man. Don't, be confident in yourself, but don't OD, man. Don't OD, man.
no, and it's that balance too. And like you were saying, is that you have to do other things too. Like the amazing interview you had with Torre was, you have to be good at different things, because sometimes you may not make money off making music. So,
Yeah.
why not become a teacher? If not become a teacher, do something else where you can generate revenue. And then also talking about generate interview, because I know you had an NFT come out
Right.
last year, I think. Was it last year? Or
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about that. Are you going to get more into the NFT world, or was it just a
Yeah.
one-time thing?
I got something, working on something with
Okay.
my boy Sam Brown.
Okay.
Like, he's heavy with it. So we got some stuff happening with that. And so he's been pretty successful doing some NFT stuff. So he's bringing me in on some things. So we got this whole like thing set up. So that'll you hear more on that.
Totally.
But I think really I just been trying to project more of who I am as I age,
Yeah.
which is like, it's difficult, because when you're an artist or a rapper and you start young, you almost don't feel like you've aged. So I'm just trying to get more so into the fact of writing books and being hired as the author and hired as the teacher will supersede me being hired as the MC maybe one day. It's just inevitable. That's just how life is. So that's got me more so finishing the books, and we're working on musicals and things like that, and movies and things like that, because it's more sustainable as I get older to make sure that I'm making these other IPs, and that I own them and I can get royalties from that. But I'll always do music too at the same time, as long as I'm enjoying doing it. And but I do know that I have to transfer my talents into other formats. That's
Right.
just a fact. You have to transfer your talents into other formats.
And I think you have done that. You're one of those rare artists that has done that and that I've known for the longest time. That hip hop is your foundation, but you took hip hop into different formats. The music, the book, school, play, other things that you've done. The premise is hip hop, but you apply it to everything else, which is amazing. Especially if you think about the Lyricist Lounge show that was MTV, because it was like its first of its kind when you
Yeah.
do sketch comedy, but the foundation was hip hop.
Right. That's everything I do. Everything I do is in that vein, because I think I have a unique perspective of hip hop that sometimes some people may already be prejudiced against hip hop because of whatever they perceive it to be. I think I allow it at times to be a bridge so people can actually want to check it out, and then I can introduce them to all the other artists that they may fear or may not want to hear or listen to. And I'll be like, nah, that's not what that's about. Because there's a misunderstanding sometimes with understanding the language and the dialects of hip hop, you know? So then you get a whole different interpretation. Sometimes for people listening to hip hop could be like reading a text message, you know, and you don't know if somebody's saying, what time you getting here? Or yo, what time you getting here? That's what hip hop is to people. Will he really have a gun, or is he just talking about somebody getting shot on his block? Is he, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, are they really talking about the protest stuff, or are they really angry? Like, people can't really interpret it sometimes because they're hearing it here and there.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you get a text message and you're not sure what the tone and mood is. I think a lot of people can't understand the tone and mood of hip hop songs and why that tone and mood is what it is. You know, they're kind of just like, they hear it and see it, but don't want to understand what it's about.
Right. And I think that's one of your talents is when you listen to music. When I read the book, which again, thank you for the book. I appreciate it. I think I bought like 5 copies. Thank you for signing it.
Yeah.
And I gave like 4 books away to people because I wanted them to have this book because it's a great book. And one of the things I loved about the book was the foreword that Master Ace wrote.
Yeah.
That was deep. Talk about that, man.
Yeah, man. I had to have Ace do that, man. I mean, he knows me. I've toured with Ace for 15 years. He brought me on tour with him for 15 years. I mean, he's my big brother in that regard of like, man, he knows me, you know, and he's had me rhyme on everything, you know, with him, you know. So he has a perspective of identifying my talents the same way I have a perspective of being able to talk about his. And I think what's dope is just that we both appreciate each other's talent. And him writing that forward, it blew me away to hear how much he appreciated me too. And you know, it was only right. I couldn't think of nobody else that could have done that and understood that, because I don't have many people that wrapped around me that much.
You have a small circle. I know that, very small circle.
I don't have that many people that's wrapped around me like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, that could have wrote that. You know, there's people that I rapped with for years, but as far as being able to kind of put it in that context of writing it, it wouldn't have been nobody better than Ace.
And the power of that forward is that, you know, while people are alive, we got to give them their soup where they're sick, and then their flowers too. And that's what he did with that forward, which was dope. And then also another favorite part of the book is this one, this picture. Tell me about that picture, brother.
Yeah, because
if people can see that, they can see that.
Yeah. I wanted that picture to be the inspiration for anybody that gets that book that has not seen me in years, because there's tons of people that bought that book that did not know what I was up to. They saw I put a book out, they saw the cover, they're like, oh, Words got a book out, I got a book out. Boom, boom. They like, I know he rapped, they reading the rhymes, they see the back and they be like, oh, okay, he ain't been playing. Like, yo, I ain't know he went there and he got like, then they delve in deeper and find out like, yo, this dude done went to college, got a master's in this, a master's in that. And you start to like understand that I'm not, even though I'm out of sight, out of mind, I'm doing something. And that's kind of how it's kind of hard to be in entertainment and hip hop and in the music industry to be out of sight, out of mind. When it's when you're out of sight and mind, people don't holler at you or want to put you on stuff and things like that. But it's like you have to be able to live with out of sight, out of mind, and then be working on stuff.
Right.
And feel confident that when it come out, like Kendrick right now, he's out of sight, out of mind. But when it drop, you're gonna be like,
everybody gonna go, everybody go like, Kendrick,
yeah. Right. And you got to be comfortable with that. He's comfortable with knowing that it's been about 2 years or something like that, and I'm working on the craft, and I kind of have to be that. You got to kind of be comfortable with doing that, and I'm comfortable with just if he ain't being me, I'm comfortable in my skin. Like, yo, it's taking time working on this, taking time working on that, and other ideas that I got.
Yeah, man. And I must say, you were definitely comfortable in your skin to write this book, because again, you just every rhyme, rhyme, you broke it down. It was almost like a Shakespearean experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which was dope, because anyone can pick it up and read it, from like your average cat on the street or someone from an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
They could appreciate it, and that's how dope this book. If you for real people, you need to cop this book. This should be like on your I don't have a bookcase, but if you had a bookcase, put it there. But yeah, definitely get this book. This is a dope book. But also, like, talk about what's going on now, because you sent me a track and I want to play it right now. May I play it right now, please?
Yeah. So I got the EP coming out. It's JF and Wordsworth, called Undivided Attention. The first single was called Sinister, produced by Jay DePina. He did 5 of the tracks on there. One track is done by Kels with the Heat. Another track is done by Donnell Smokes. This other song, which is crazy, called Remember. I'm actually send you that song tonight too. Okay,
please do. All right, I'm gonna play it right now. I'm gonna give the people what they want.
Yeah, Sinister.
Yeah. Every country, state, city, and zip. Dark streets and lights broken, but the city be lit. Money got the ugliest guys with the prettiest chicks. Surgery got ugly girls with the men that be rich. Not enough room for all of us in this city to fit. Gangs and armies gonna get you long. The city is split. Mental health and care yourself. The city's a trip. Let anyone physically fit is visibly sick. The president, the Congress, and the senators are sinister. Drowning kids, shit.
Dead Bowie shooting like Steph Curry.
Angels in the sky, ever listen, they demand. I supply, people buy, that's commission fee for what I say. Words work, my definition, see the eye in the eyes, can't hide their addiction. Dealers paying doctors just to buy their prescriptions. Seniors living in apartments for senior citizens. Call 911 about foreign causes here sitting in this riveting. Cold world shivering, the bushes they be hidden in. Look at.
You know what? You're gonna have to pre-order the album.
Yeah, man.
I'm not gonna do that to my homie. If you want to hear it all, you need to download, pre-order it, or buy the single, because I'm not playing the whole thing. I'm not gonna do that. That's what I don't do that here. So you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, check it out, y'all. Sinister. It's out, man, right now on iTunes. You can pre-order the album, and your other whatever other ways that you get music, you can like pre-save it and everything like that. But yeah.
And the same guy that was spitting, you also have a coloring book, don't you? Right?
A coloring book? I don't have a coloring book.
Not yet. Oh, not yet. Did I drop the ball? Did I?
No. I don't have a coloring book. No, I don't. But I may have a coloring book with this next book.
I give a little something.
It's possible with the next book, something like that. That's possible, because right now what's happening with the next book is that the reason it would have dropped actually October. The illustrator is actually drawing an image for each chapter, and it's 20 chapters.
Wow. What?
They're doing like a picture for each chapter, so it's 20 chapters. Man, I think the book's gonna blow people away, man.
I'm excited about it, man. I can't wait to.
Man, I think it's gonna blow people away, man. When people read the book and see what it's about, yeah, it's gonna be something big, man. So. And then I'm working on another part 2 to this, of course.
Can't wait.
But then I got another book that I'm working on too. So, I'm trying to stick to the book a year thing though.
No, but that's good, man, because it keeps the mind going, and you just like what we were talking about behind the scenes a little bit is that like say if you create that book that eventually turns into like a movie or an animation movie. Right. Again, you have massive different incomes coming in. You got money coming from the book. You got money coming from the film.
Yeah.
And so you're always thinking ahead, and that's important.
That's it, man. That's my mindset with all this stuff, man. The other book that I got coming out, man, too, that I got to work on is I think it's gonna be crazy too, man. So I got some things, man. And then it's like, I hate saying it's gonna be crazy because I know I've seen people say something gonna be crazy and it'd be terrible. So I
no, man. Real talk. You're a man of your word. You never come out with some whack shit.
Yeah. I try to, like, when I say it, like, it's of quality, which is why it takes me a while to do it too, or time to do it. It's just, so.
But bro, yeah. I'm excited, man. And real fast before we go, man, I was excited last year that you did a track with one of my favorite MCs, Skyzoo. But I'm shocked you guys for years. For years, I was shocked you guys never did a collaboration.
Yeah, how well
last year for the Nets.
What's so
talk about that?
So funny is about that, the guy that made that track, Mike Swift, the sound provider, literally I have to call him right after you. So it's so crazy you brought that up. Yeah, I told him right after I finished talking to you. Crazy you brought that up. Because he got another track with me, Razkaz, and Rex that he wants to drop like this week or so. So he just called me about like registering and BMI stuff. So it's so wild you said that. But yeah, people have been saying that like for years, like, yo, track with me and Skyzoo. I think the next big one is a track with me and Elzai. Now that's what other people was asking about. So it's happening slowly but surely. I got a track with me and Mickey Facts. Yeah, so all these different people, man, it's happening.
Can we see a Ford with you, Skyzoo, Torre, and Master Ace do a track together? Because that would be like the Avengers.
Maybe. I might be able to do that. I think that's possible.
Let's make that happen, man.
I think
hip hop needs that. I think hip hop.
We're all in some of the same circles all the time, anyway. So that's not. Yeah, it's pretty possible because Torre has been on. We went on tour with Torre, man, over in Europe, which was dope. And then I got Torre on a photo album with me. He's on stuff with Gates. I mean, it's just all interwoven together, so it's all possible.
Not possible. Just please make it happen, man. I'll spend a lot. I'll spend $1 million.
We might have to do a whole nother Brooklyn theme. I don't want to do no more. I don't know if I'm doing another Brooklyn record. I got a couple of Brooklyn records now.
Just do something about COVID. I don't know.
Oh yeah, right. We gotta do something
for real, man. But bro, this has been a dope conversation. What you want to let people know? Just some words of wisdom. Yeah, break it down, bro.
Book, man, definitely get the book. What Words Are Worth, Volume 1. Go pre-order the album, Undivided Attention. Right now, you can pre-order it. Also, look out for the album, The Fragility of Life. That'll be in like January. That's actually like finished. It's just getting like the final touches of like mixes and mastering should be done probably within the next few days. And then I send that off with the artwork, and then look out for the next book. I don't want to give away the idea of the book, but look out for the next book. The next book is coming up in a few months. And hit me on Instagram. Wordsworth, BKLYN, Wordsworth _EMC on Twitter. And then I'm on Facebook as Wordsworth on my fan page, and so on and so forth, man. I'm around just doing things.
And doing big things, man. And I appreciate you jumping on with me. You are the man. You are my hero. You definitely motivate me, man. So I appreciate that, man.
And vice versa. I'm here, man. Let's
all right.
Let's stay busy.
Oh, definitely, man. Again, thank you for another episode of The Dad Is Not a Now. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you don't, I understand why. I don't know. I understand why you won't. But if you don't, okay, it is what it is. But we're out. Peace.
Peace.